when you go on telly, you're putting your reputation in the hands of the producers and the editors, and they can do what they want. They own you.
I'm going to move on to Dragon's Den, actually, because there's a really interesting story in that. So how did that happen? Did they approach you? Did you approach Dragon's Den? How did you end up on the show?
So Dragon's Den approached me. I wouldn't have applied myself. A lot of people have said to me since going on Dragon's Den, oh my gosh, you went on Dragon's Den and everything's gone amazingly for you. I'm going to go on Dragon's Den. And I'm like, whoa. Let's sign a waiver here. Actually, because it's a big risk going on TV.
Well, you're doing great beforehand. You didn't need Dragon's Den.
So, exactly. And it's a big risk when you go on telly. I've got friends who work in TV, and I've been told a few times, when you go on telly, you're putting your reputation in the hands of the producers and the editors, and they can do what they want. They own you. So it's never really appealed to me. I mean, it's a dream, isn't it? Oh, I'd love to go on Dragon's Den. But when I got serious about it, I thought, nah, I wouldn't. And then when they approached me, this is what I mean about things being sort of fated. And when they approached me at the beginning, I thought, no. And then I thought, actually, because of the way I am on social media, whatever happens on Dragon's Den, I can make a little bit of I can
use what happens to your advantage.
I can use what happens to my advantage. So no matter what happens, I will put a spin on it, and I will create some really good content, because that's obviously where my skill lies, is content creation. So I didn't realize at the time, and I don't even know if it occurred to me, but what could make for better content than being rejected by all 6 dragons and almost having this really controversial snaky offer given to me that divided the whole of the country, who couldn't agree whether it was a good offer, a bad offer, this or that. So I'll be honest, when I went on and I agreed to go on, I didn't have all that much notice to prepare. I watched a lot of episodes, so I thought I knew enough. They didn't even show you the complicated questions they asked me were insane.
And what are they? What happens? Because I know it's heavily edited. You've got a 10, 12-minute segment. Obviously, you must be in there for much longer than that period of time. I imagine maybe an hour, probably more. What is those complicated questions? How do they really get under the skin of the business, and what do they ask?
I was in there for 3.5 hours, standing on the stage, talking to them. And they asked me about loads of stuff, really detailed questions. And I use a lot of agencies. So they were asking me questions about my email marketing that there's just no way I would know the answer to that, because I outsource it. That's just one example. I spoke to them a lot about I'm glad they didn't show any of this, but there was that whole really famous part about the dividends.
Yeah.
But it was actually, that was related to my personal finances. And I spoke to them a lot about that. They gave me some really, really good advice. They actually advised me not to buy a building, because I was going to buy a building because we couldn't find a building big enough to house hair syrup.
Yeah.
And then 2 days before I signed the deal to buy a plot of land for £1 million, my old director had an email from someone saying, this unit has just come up. They want to swap in the next 2 weeks. Do you want to do it 2 days before? And the dragons had told me not to do it. And
so it's like fate not to do it. With that advice may come up.
So I didn't. And we had a difficult year last year financially because of various people. And it would have been catastrophic for the brand if I'd done that. Probably would have closed me down. So they advised me not to. They gave me loads of other advice. They were just it's been invaluable really for me as an entrepreneur to talk to them, listen to them, and have them tell me stuff about my future, my business. They made it look really negative on the TV, but honestly, it was the best experience I've ever had.